Painkiller Nearly, episode 395. My return.
Your return.
Oh, dude. So last Thursday was quite the day for me, right? Jackie crashed her motorcycle, and she went. I think you guys might have thought she went to the ER. She went to urgent care, got X-rays and all that stuff. But that was like an hour and a half from here, and it was just an exhausting day. And I didn't get her settled in and tucked away until like after 10. I could have attended like the last 45 minutes of the show, but I was like, they'll understand. And then I find out the guest left, and you guys were just doing a 2-man podcast, like damn near Bill Burr style. If I had known, I would have came. I'm sorry.
We didn't mind at all. We
just
just talked about a bunch of retarded shit and had a good time. But yeah, we were worried about. I in my head, you know how when someone tells you about an injury, you picture like a cataclysm, like so much worse. I was like, oh my God, like, will he be around in the next few days? Like, is he going to be staying by her side as they put her back together? And it was her first ride, right?
No. So we've been working on this for a couple of weeks now. It started as in the yard. She hops on one of my bikes and buzzes around, and she was not good at some of the basics. You just put your foot down and you lean to that side. Mm-hmm. Well, the motorcycles are a little too tall for her, so it's harder than you might be imagining because you sort of fall and tip to that side. She can't just flat foot both of them at the same. But she was able to get into gear, get into second gear, steer around the yard, stuff like that. But we decided that because stopping was hard, we went to a bicycle. And she buzzed around the bike for a while, and I don't want to admit that there might have been some arguments along the way. Neither of you have ever tried to teach a loved one to ride a motorcycle or drive, but I was like, let's she was frustrated with herself. I wasn't mean or anything, but I was at my wit's end, but it wasn't yelling.
I love that. You're just exasperated by
it. I'm like, honey, I've picked up this motorcycle 37 times now. Can you just lean to the side that you have your foot down? Because she'd do this. She'd go to the motorcycle. She'd put her left foot down, then fall to the right. And I'm like, I keep picking this bike up. Clutch lever's broken off. Oh. and it's okay. Look, I bought a new clutch lever. I don't know where it is, but everything's fine. But
take your time putting it on. You'll be riding for a minute.
Were you doing that George Costanza laugh, exasperated? We're she falls again. You're like, ha ha.
we got to a point where let's simplify this, right? Because she's like, there's so much happening at one time. How to go fast on a motorcycle, you pull the throttle. Rah. To me, this is just a thing every 4-year-old boy knows. Mm-hmm. She's like, which way makes the throttle go? You pull it towards you or roll it away from you? And I'm just like, we're starting at the beginning.
You'll know very quickly which way it is.
right. I was anyway.
That's frustrating because it's you're holding it. Why are you asking me the things that you can find out on your own? There's so many things that I have to.
Right,
I have to tell you so many things. This one
she was doing that girl thing where she's in tears, and I'm like, if I was any other instructor, would you be crying right now? And she's like, no. Why do I have to deal with this?
Yeah, that is some Sigma male behavior.
I don't know what that means, but I was like, let's simplify it. I would just get on the back of the motorcycle and push her, push. I'm exhausted.
Wait a minute.
Well, he'd already picked it up 40 times.
I'm starting to wonder how Jackie really got hurt.
There was a point where I was pushing her on the bike and she wouldn't go straight. She's just turning all over the place. And I'm like, if you can't go straight, this is just so ground zero. So I put her on a bicycle. That actually helped. She got a lot of bike time. She's always able to stop and put her foot down on any side she chose, right? Left, left, it's cool. She took the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course that Kyle had taken. The thing is, in her experience, they didn't spend a lot of time teaching and drilling and moving slowly. It was almost like you had to be able to do this stuff already and just demonstrate it for them practically. She'd drill it for her we got her a personalized instructor. And apparently she was killing it. The joke was that she was going to come back to the house and teach me how to ride. She's in 5th gear. She's buzzing around. It's in like a giant sand lot. Mm-hmm. And she's just buzzing around on this beach, doing a thing, having fun. And eventually she was supposed to, I guess, swerve in between trees. And she hit a tree and ricocheted off to another tree. I think it was the first one. She hit her shoulder and then fell, and really the only notable damage is her shoulder. Her ribs hurt a little bit, her hand hurts a little bit, and she got a bump on the thigh. She's got a bruise that like, it's not quite Taylor's butt bruise, but you look at it and be like, yeah, that's no joke. That's it. That was a good hit. But
did she break her collarbone? Was it broken?
No. So here's a picture of it. The collarbone is displaced. It's not at all where it's supposed to go. So Zach, hold the mouse still for a second. A little to the left. Right about there is where it's supposed to be. And so they need to take that big shoulder bone thing, move it to the left, put the collarbone in the right spot, and then reattach 4 ligaments. So this is a grade 5 AC separation. The C is, what's the collarbone called? Clavicle.
Yeah.
It's like anti-clavicle or something like that. I forget, but this is a grade C.
Clavicle is what she did.
Right? I forget what the A is for. I'm messing it up. But it's a grade 5.
Wow, Woody, your wife has incredibly symmetrical ribs, I just want to say. Hope that's not too far.
That's brutal. I noticed the note on there that was like patient is leaving clothes on because of insane pain or like severe
did
pain.
it say that?
Yeah, because I know like apparently that your collarbone, your clavicle is like totally disproportionately painful to break for what it is. Like people will, like I said it before, the kid on my hockey team when I was like 13, he broke his clavicle. He was vomiting afterward. He turned green and was throwing up. It was well, his actually shattered in half, but like it's unbelievably painful. So that really sucks. I'm glad she's doing better.
So
yeah. Well, that's going to be surgery. So
yeah,
surgery is Friday, so the day after the show.
Okay.
And basically they're gonna drill a hole through the collarbone and whatever it goes to, attach them by rubber band, reattach the 4 torn ligaments, and then a sling for 6 weeks and PT for 6 more.
Orthoscopic thing, like up through like.
Yeah, he is doing it arthroscopically. It's right here. There'll be a small little incision, and the surgeon's good. He trains with plastic surgeons, so he's like, write me a letter to remind me, and we'll sew it up just like the plastics would.
Yeah.
And
hey Doc, how about you just take that letter and jot it down for life?
That was like, does anybody want the big scar? Like, who chooses that option? But okay.
Who's special order in the Frankenstein mode?
while you're on me, go ahead and give me one of those cool eyebrow scars. It's like we're operating on your clavicle, sir.
Give me a Jon Snow right here.
Yeah. So it should be really cool. The prognosis for this kind of injury is really good. They tend to have full recovery.
That's good.
It kind of sucks, and the 12 weeks is kind of long, but it is what it is. And
it'd be time for a new bike in 12.
You got to be
weeks.
like, but part of you're like, it could have been so much worse than that. Has got to be your thought, right?
I don't know. If she's putting around in a sand lot with like trees the size of your wrist, it couldn't have gone much worse.
I was imagining much larger trees.
She had driven out to sea.
I mean, she could have smacked her head on there instead of.
She's got a helmet.
Yeah.
Trees are robust.
Trees are robust. I mean, look, the potential to go really fast into a big tree is there, but what do you say? It was the first time she dropped the bike all day, actually, and I'm like, how'd you drop my bikes constantly, baby? What's it?
well, I wouldn't want to drop his bike.
Right.
You've got so many.
He swap it out.
If people know their bikes, for the 1% of you, Honda CRF 150L is what she was on. It's a small bike you might put a kid on, and it just is a little lighter, a little easier to touch the ground than anything I own.
Yeah.
So we might get something in that class. She still wants to ride. She's like bummed that she's not making progress. I was wondering where you guys would land on that, because I think there's got to be a sizable fraction of people listening to this who are like, She's a 49-year-old mom. She has no right to do anything interesting. Take up quilting. Whereas I'm more like, oh yeah, if you do shit, this just happens every so often.
I mean, y'all have savings and in-laws. Have fun.
That's part of the risk of doing fun things. She might get hurt from time to time.
I've said before, like there's a never broke a bone subreddit. And I'm like, that's the never did a thing subreddit. You take up flying and motorcycles and shit. Like, go into rock climbing. You'll break some bones, but you'll have done some shit. So
there's a whole forum of people talking about never having broken a bone.
It's a whole forum. Yeah.
They're very proud of themselves.
Is it a joke? Like, we're too conservative with our behavior? And
no, it's the opposite. It's usually people who are like kind of wild with it, and they're like, yeah, still never. Or people who are like, this is how I finally broke one. It'll be like that. This was it, boys. 39 years old, and then they like trip, like walking out the front door and break their leg or something like that. It's always different stuff. I watched a video yesterday. Last night.
The top meme on the subreddit, is making fun of him.
I was watching a guy last night on a go-kart, like just a fun go-kart, like adult style go-karts for sure. But like another car got next to him, and his hand, like, it happened so fast.
The open wheel go-karts, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And his finger got into the opposing wheel, and it took the tip of his finger off like it was a fucking ninja master over there driving that car. And he just looks at it and he goes, ah! Because like, when I say the tip, I mean like all the way to the first little knuckle there, pretty much. Like all that important part. All the important shit. Yeah. Somebody was like, well, how much of his penis? Like, oh, just the tip. And you'd be like, oh, fuck it. That's the only part that mattered.
The most important part.
A little bit of dick root. We could have just patched up. You took the head, and so we're all done.
All stem, there's no aesthetic.
No.
You need
there's no that's the part that feels stuff. I don't want dick root. I don't want a whole dick of dick root. I want a whole dick made out of penis heads. I want it all.
The ultimate pleasure.
Yeah. Like I'd have to wear special underwear. It's so sensitive.
Dude, I
have an enormous long penis head, and that's it.
Yeah. Can you show this video? And by the way, it has copyright music on it, so no volume. I saw the opposite of what Kyle saw. So this guy's using a saw stop. It's a similar saw to what I have. And the piece that he's cutting is very small. So he uses his finger to retrieve the piece next to the blade. And it could have gone really badly. I'm hoping Zach is almost ready. Yeah. So watch this. Hit play, and no volume. Perfect. So you see the little piece next to the fence. I think that's the piece he's most interested in. And he pushes it through, and now he wants to like get it out with his finger. Woo! Look at the damage.
Well, the damage to his table saw is immense, but
yeah. So
I'm not so sure this isn't set up for the purpose of this, because why has he brought his camera crew to cut a shiver off?
Was he demonstrating like how impressive it is? Because I've seen that one with the hot dog before.
Well, see, the thing is, when that thing activates, it's expensive.
What do you mean?
I mean, it doesn't say slow down, saw. It says stop everything. Everything breaks. His finger's in the way.
Yeah, okay. A saw blade like that. I haven't bought a saw blade in a while, but they used to be like $120 a good saw blade. And there's a piece of aluminum that gets shoved into the saw blade, and they're both destroyed in that process. So you're out like $300 when that happens. And you're
so happy.
Yeah.
That's a great $300.
Unless like there was like some plastic staple wrapper thing on the lumber or something like that. At Home Depot, plastic might be stapled to you. Just kaboom! Oh, fuck you, motherfucker!
That can happen. A bullet in the wood.
A bullet in the wood. I didn't think of that. Yeah,
it happens.
Oh yeah.
What was that? I had a thing to say. I just assumed he was a YouTuber. There's like a woodworking genre on YouTube. There are lots of people film themselves making things.
Yeah.
So, but it could be set up. It could be fake, but I fell for it.
Either way, it worked. What's not fake is that fucking saw stopping and doing that. They've had that thing for a while, and it's one of those pieces of technology that we've just said, saws stop themselves. But still, it's pretty cool.
It works on. So I'm outside of my depth here, but capacitance. What is that word? My
understanding. I thought it's closing a circuit, right? When he touches that thing.
I thought that too. It has to do like it's measuring like how much electricity the blade can hold. And I guess wood isn't conductive enough to increase that amount, but when you touch it with your hand, it is. If I understand it, I still can't say it. Capacitance. Yeah, so when you touch it, it recognizes that it's been touched, that, I guess the volume has increased a ton, and it stops, and it shoves a piece of aluminum into the saw blade. The rotation of the saw blade, that kinetic energy, is used in making it slam below the surface really quickly. So not only does the blade stop, but it drops under the table, and boom. Now you have a saw that's out of adjustment and a $300 problem, but
and
you've avoided an amputation.
That's such a cool technology.
Yeah,
they can't have you tried to order on the McDonald's auto menu? It's terrible. We have iPads figured out, and they can't do that. This is more impressive than anything.
It's super great for me and you or whatever in your shop. But imagine it in a school. Like, I bet that fucking thing saves children.
So I wasn't in a gigantic high school, but it was not uncommon for someone to lose a piece of their finger or their whole finger. It happened, or to die. Like, in the time that I was in that high school, we had one death, maybe 3 finger issues lost, and some third degree burns.
Did the death involve the fish farming?
No.
Were there piranha in there?
We had in the elective building, where welding, construction, automotive is, they also had this thing called technology. And I always wanted to take technology. When I was in 8th grade, middle school, they take you up to high school, and they're like, this is what the big boys get to play with. And, even the football field's better. And they showed us the technology wing, and they're wiring in there. They're like wiring up fuse boxes and shit. And I'm like, oh, my dad does this. It'd be great to be able to help my dad when we're doing a thing like this, because electricity is scary. I've always been real scared of it if I don't understand it, which is a smart way to be about anything, I guess. But kid died in there the year before I went up to 9th grade, so I could have attended the class, and they didn't play with fun shit anymore. You know how I saw
electrocuted? Is that?
Yeah. I saw a meme yesterday about how your science teacher comes running when you mix salt and water together. No!
Nothing happens when you mix salt.
You get salt water. How did the kid die?
Electrocuted.
That sucks.
At school?
Yeah, they were wiring up boxes or something.
I also can wire up circuit breakers, and my trick is to turn the power off.
Dude, that's easy.
Step 1.
Mode. Yes. Anybody can win. You turn it to fucking easy, Woody. Nobody's impressed that you can wire a box up when it's turned off.
Touche. You
gotta be quick.
Right.
That kid wired up
faster than the speed of light. I guess.
Quicker than the electricity.
I knew a kid who once wired up 3.5 boxes in 15 minutes.
3.5, huh?
How did the rest of that day go? So the guy died in technology class. Did everybody get to go home, or was it a hidden thing?
I was in 8th grade. I was in 8th grade.
Oh,
so when we got there, though, they were like, yeah, don't even bother with that one. The kid died last year. You're gonna be playing with bullshit, and it's no, I want to play with real shit. Go to metals. They don't care. And I'm like, what do you mean? They don't care.
They should have made a plaque for him in woodworking.
Made a what?
A plaque.
Here died Stevie Skidmore. He grabbed the wrong wire.
Remember to turn it off.
What if they did that, painted blood splatter on all the equipment and stuff as a reminder to the children?
We wouldn't have
We will never clean Greg's viscera as a reminder to the students.
We would not have cared a bit. Nobody, because I remember when this kid ground off a bunch of his finger in one of the big wheel grinders, and Ertzberger's we can't do this over and over. It's so easy.
What kind of work camp did you go to high school at? People grinded their fingers off?
This class was essentially a working machine shop. It was a machine shop. There was nothing about our equipment that differed it from industrial equipment, and we were operating on it at 15 or 16 years old. At 14, 15, 16, and we had metal lathes, all 3 kinds of welders, stick, MIG, and TIG, blow torches, acetylene torches, we had this big thing that would cut metal in half, a hydraulic press thing. You press on a thing and it would go wah, pop, and it would cut a piece of metal that was like 1/4 inch thick, like a big plate of it. It would just cut them in half. It didn't do it fast or anything, but still, like, these kids would be shoving shit in there and it'd be like, boom, and the pieces would fly around and they'd all laugh. And
people put textbooks in it and shit. That's what I'd want to see.
Yeah, I'd want to see other stuff.
Nobody put anything they shouldn't put in there because that would have been big trouble. The teacher there was always really
definitely put a phone book in it.
The teacher would be like, you get to put metal in it and then melt the metal if you want, and then stick the metal to another piece of metal with electricity. And you got to bring a book in here and shove in it, Woody. You must like books. How about you go to the classroom and you learn from them for the rest of your metals?
Everyone look at Queer Woody liking to read.
That's what would have happened, because our the biggest fear was that he was going to make us do what he's supposed to make us do according to the state. And that is, he'd say,
learn.
Yeah. Well, he would be like, do you guys realize that half of our days in this class are supposed to be sent over there in that classroom and those desks we never sit in? We're supposed to spend half our time in there in those books that we never use. You're supposed to be doing chapters and tests.
This guy sounds pretty cool now.
What are you doing today, Curtis? Well, I was going to build that cattle trailer. That's right, you were. How about you, Kyle? I was just going to go sit by that barrel where we burn stuff outside. It's smoky.
See, be like Kyle.
Sounds like a hell of a time, don't it, boys? Out by the burn pile where it's smoky.
Be like just smoke a cigarette.
The rules were so simple. It was like, yes, you can chew tobacco. Just don't spit on my floor. No, you can't smoke cigarettes. Switch to chewing tobacco. It's easy. like don't steal.
So much worse.
Like don't steal. Don't break my equipment. That was about it.
I like it. Like, all right, I get that you're all untrustworthy teenagers, but I'm gonna try trusting you, and it's gonna be a win-win until you're untrustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a social experiment.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And it was very rare that somebody would fuck up and like do anything that would land us in there. Like it was very rare. Like, because for the most part, everybody that was in there enjoyed goofing around with stuff. I kind of grew up with most of the stuff that was in there, like the torches and the welders.
Sure.
But still, there was stuff in there that I thought was cool and I wanted to play with.
He should have put everyone in those desks. And then today's lesson was just a PowerPoint presentation on what an asshole Woody is and why we're all at the desks. Look at Woody. Unflattering picture on the
it was
projector.
It's like you sitting, leaning forward, shirtless, the worst angle.
Yes.
Look at his rolls. I'm not that fat.
I just remembered
has rolls when they lean over.
I just remembered this about the class. They did a thing where it was like 95% guys. There'd be one, maybe two girls, and they would be upperclassmen almost always, like seniors. And all they had to do in class was Mr. Hertzberg's paperwork. Like they would take the attendance, or they would if there was any testing that had to be done, because occasionally there's like, it's like a common sense test. It's like any of you we could all take the test that I took back then and be okay right now. And that was all they ever had to do. They just graded papers and like did his paperwork, and that was their A. My A was literally just sitting there. Like you could just use that as a nap period if you wanted.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
That's great.
Kyle, you'll get an A if you can avoid bothering me.
Yeah.
Young Woody would have struggled with that task.
Dude, that's how my gym teacher was in like sophomore, junior year of high school. He was like one of those guys who was like, oh yeah, I teach history, but mainly as an excuse so I can coach the football team. Like that kind of guy. And then he also had to take on like gym at some point. Like he taught gym and history and the football team. And at gym, we had to do tennis for like our tennis block, like a 3-week tennis block. And he didn't know his ass from a hole in the ground when it came to tennis, and he didn't care. And so he would like tell us like, it's tennis. Have fun playing tennis, everyone. And then we just go on the tennis courts and kind of do our own thing. And if anyone asked like, Coach, how do I serve? He'd be up on the stairs
like that,
like reading a book, smoking a cigarette. And he'd be like, looks good. and then just go back to it. And he just had no interest whatsoever.
Dude, I love that.
One of my favorite teachers, I had an accounting teacher. I had to take all these horrible courses. When everyone was talking wood shop and metal shop, my dad was like, no, he's going to take accounting and business prep and whatever. All right. So I'm in this awful accounting class. Everyone wishes they weren't there. Everyone wishes they were taking photography right now, but we're in accounting. Even the teacher is wishing she wasn't there. And I really like that about her. She's like, I should have been a gym teacher. Look at him. Look at him right now out the window. She's run those laps. Run those laps. That's all they do. They do that at the start of every period. And then they sit there and talk. They're drinking coffee right now. They don't have any tests to grade. And swear, this is an almost daily thing where she's like, those gym teachers make the same amount of money that I do. I'm teaching accounting inside to you.
See, that's because she didn't have any side hustle in her. All right. She could have easily had like your final exams doing other people's taxes. All right. You're going to file the W-2 for Mr. Johnson here. Here you go. Here you go. Yeah.
That's pretty smart.
And you got Mrs. Johnson. Oh, they're not filing together. That's odd. All right. Here you go. That would be great. Because that's what my teachers did.
It's not that hard to teach someone to do a 1040 just based off a W-2 and like maybe with a property tax like that. I swear I could teach you guys that in a day. You might already know.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know. I've never had to learn.
Okay. Well, yeah. I teach you in 30 minutes and you'd be good to go.
Yeah. Right now, paying taxes is like this thing in the ether that happens. And I'm just like, how do you know when? Do they send you like a bill? You can't just pay it online.
It's going to be funny when you have to like file on your own someday.
No, I mean, I've got an accountant person, and it's just like
he always has someone help him.
Oh,
they need to be provided with stuff, but then like I don't even know what to provide them with. So Kitty takes the stuff and gives it to the professional, and the professional does the thing they do.
Jackie receives the mail, and
I mean, you can have his same service for about $300, Taylor.
Lucky, I do.
Lucky duck.
They say important tax documents inside. So I just have a pile of like unorganized important tax documents inside. We start there and just do taxes.
I hate it. I hate it so much because I always get so stressed that I'm doing it wrong and I'm.
Why do you do it?
Because no. I mean, like I have someone do it for me, but I'm always like stressed when they're like, okay, this is all the information about XYZ and this income stream and that. And I'm like, I'll be like laying in bed, like for the week leading up to it. Like, okay, go through the list. I'm 99% sure I hit everything. What if I didn't say everything? What if I said something wrong? I'll get in trouble.
I'm misunderstanding. Or like, is there a reason you can't just like go back to your bank account and look at every time money came in?
That's what I do. And like with my other accounts, I'm being neurotic is what I do. Like I get paranoid. Neurotic.
I just want to get my taxes about right.
Yeah.
It's like, go ahead, audit me. Go ahead, audit me and find a $700 mistake. You know what I'll do? I'll write you a check. I'm not going to fucking sweat this. If it's close, it's good.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about that also, where I've been like, worried about it, and then in my head I'm saying to myself like, Taylor, you don't know enough about taxes to cheat if you wanted to. Like what would I do? Be like, how much money did you make? Nothing.
I mean, this is what happened. Like I have had the IRS come back and say, hey Woody, we looked at your stuff, you owe us another 900. And I'm like, all right, so for 900 you stop bothering me? Deal accepted.
Yeah.
And this is like a while ago.
No, I've never been too stressed about that because like you said, I don't know how you would like go, what are you going to do? Just like literally straight up lie about tens of thousands of dollars, either not coming in or actually going out somehow. Did. Like that. No, Wesley Snipes just didn't pay them. Him and like Willie Nelson were just like, people be like, man, taxes are rough, huh? I paid $8 million in taxes last year, and he'd be like, "Fuck all that."
I don't know about Willie Nelson. I know he didn't pay taxes, but I don't know where his head was. Wesley Snipes bought into this like he had people in his universe who told him that the United States didn't have the right to collect taxes, and that if he just explained that to the United States properly, they would be like, well, you got me. I actually have no tax collecting authority.
Wesley Snipes found the loophole.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can't even find anyone to beat him up.
He's a sovereign citizen now. We can't touch him. He's under maritime law. We can't collect taxes from Wesley Snipes.
Maybe he thought that like there's no way they'll put Blade in prison.
They did. I bet he was cool in prison, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to real prison.
He was gone for years. For years, there was no Wesley Snipes, and no one cared.
Well, how long was he like not paying taxes? Wasn't it a ridiculous amount of time? Like almost the entire period he was popular, he wasn't paying taxes.
I don't know any of that. I just know that he went away for real. I know Willie dug his way out of it. Willie was just like, all right, y'all, I'll get on it. Give me a few years. I mean, I'll write a few songs, and they were like, cool, because like with the music business, I feel like it's so much easier to put him on a payment plan because Willie Nelson can make money. He's 100 now, and he's still doing those concerts. And still, like he gets his whole family involved. Like he's so old now. He's like, "This is my boy, Big Willie," and he's like 70. and like his grandson is like 45 or something. It's like, and he's he's trying to get them all like into the business. Yeah, but he's still making money. Wesley Snipes might have a little bit harder time. I think he's still working. I saw him do that Eddie Murphy thing, the I Am Dolomite thing. He was really good in that. He's going to be in something else soon. And he was also in Coming to America, maybe. Can't remember. Anyway, I've been watching the Ukraine thing. It's been so fucking great. It's been so good. Elon Musk challenged Vladimir Putin to trial by single combat. And then he
great.
That's a bad move.
No, it's not. No, I think Elon takes him.
Is Elon Musk strong?
Oh yeah, he's wiry. He's got that bloated I don't do anything body.
Yeah, but but Putin would have KGB tricks, pocket sand.
Everybody keeps talking about the KGB thing. I've never heard anything, but I think when we hear KGB, we imagine him as a Russian James Bond equivalent. When in reality, I think he filed paperwork and was mostly a bureaucrat.
I don't know.
So Putin's 69,
and he got fired.
And they're saying that he's sick. And I don't know what to believe. Everything's propaganda right now. But if he is a sick 69-year-old, I like Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, what's the height difference? Putin's not very tall. So I bet Musk, I don't know how tall Musk is, though. Is Musk short? If he's not short, he'd have that reach advantage.
He looks 5'8", 5'9" to me. It doesn't matter because the leader of Russia is going to do
Elon
battle.
Musk height. The first thing that comes up is Elon Musk versus Vladimir Putin. Height, weight, and stats revealed.
Yes, that's the first thing I see.
Elon is 50 and he's 6'2". Okay, that's a huge benefit. If he is we'll say 6 foot because these are Hollywood inches here. And Putin says 5'5" and 69.
Elon Musk over the years has claimed to be 6'2" and 6'1.5". So it sounds on target-ish. And by the way, 6'1.5" is 6'2" by maritime law.
I think Elon Musk. Here's what I think. I think
he's got 8-inch reach on him probably, so he'd win for sure.
Yeah, I think that they both die. I think that Elon Musk hits him with some kind of a robot punch, but Putin like blows some sort of nanobots into his machine arm, and they kill Elon from the inside.
I would figure the blowing nanobots would be a Musk move.
Kyle, I have a Ukraine war.
They're the only way
question.
to kill Musk.
There has been a convoy outside Kiev, for some extended period of time. I know it broke up and moved around not long ago.
Yeah, a week.
But it looks so vulnerable to me. How do they have, I'll make up a number, 273 tanks in a row on a road that the entire planet knows where they are, not being harassed?
They are being harassed. They've been getting fucked up real bad. So that convoy isn't all tanks. It's mostly trucks full of supplies. Everything from munitions and MREs to medical supplies. I'm sure, like anything that you would need in a war, they've got in there. Probably spare parts for the tanks. There's a lot of those big green trucks with the canvas over the top, but they have been fucking up. The thing is, they keep showing us the same pictures from a week ago. There's been like 2 pictures, one from a week ago and one from 2.5 days ago, when in one neighborhood. 40-kilometer convoy, right? They showed us one neighborhood where the tanks pulled off behind the buildings.
Right.
So what's actually been happening is they blew up the bridges in front of that thing. Most of the trucks in that thing ran out of gas, like literally don't have fuel. And they've just been blowing up the targets that they want to blow up and can blow up left and right. The only reason that they don't just come in and just blow everything up is there's a lot of things that prevent them from doing that. The electronic warfare vehicles that the Russians have, my understanding is that they've got jammers on them. They're basically like UAV jammers, if we don't want to get technical at all. And so like but UAV jammers are expensive. So that's been like their main target recently is fuel and the electronic warfare stuff, the UAV jammers that the Russians have. Because when they destroy the jammers, they're able to use those Turkish drones, I think, a lot more effectively. Those Turkish drones are, I want to know, how expensive are those? Like, are they like $60,000? That's what I want to hear.
Because I know that you're not allowed to have rifles, but are there any rules against Turkish drones? Maybe they didn't think of that.
Oh,
loophole.
No, I almost guarantee that you can buy the drone. It would be the weapon systems, but like I know a guy for that.
Yeah. Now you have a home defense system.
Oh, more than a home defense system. I don't know what the range is.
A neighborhood defense system, sure.
I really hate how stupid the people on CNN and like $1 to $2 million. Okay, that's probably armed too, huh? This dumb woman on CNN or whatever I was watching her early this morning at maybe 5 a.m. She was like, I don't even know why they want any fighter planes. It seems like these drones are the way to go. Just keep buying more. And it's like, well, I think fighter planes can do some different shit, right? Like hit air-to-air targets. The drone, for one thing, is like a big, silly flying piece of fiberglass. It looks like anything in the air that sees it just blows it up. And almost any kind of anti-air like device at all takes it out. Like they've lost a lot of them. That's why they're buying so many.
The drones you're talking about, I'll presume you're right. I don't know any better. The idea of drones, like, oh, what if we had a fighter plane and we took the person out, right? So now this thing can routinely pull 21 Gs, for example. This thing can go fast or slow. It can stop. It can do shit that would make a human inside vomit. Like maybe this is the next thing.
Yeah, that's the idea. Is that everything's going to be unmanned eventually? Like the newest prototype or whatever. Like the idea for the next U.S. tank systems is unmanned. It's like this fucking mech, fucking riding around.
Yeah, and in some ways it's expensive. I'm sorry, but people are very expensive. Not training people is very expensive. And by the way, you lose them 8 years later, something like that, 6 years later. And but not only do you train them, you have to feed them, you have to house them, you have to pay them, you have to do a whole lot of shit that, like, when they don't die, when you just hand them the next mechanized tank and they try that one, that's nice.
I don't even want to kill people if I can't fly in the plane. All right, that's bullshit. All right?
I disagree. No, I'd gladly kill them over a video game.
I think there's got to be advantages.
Yeah,
you could definitely like. I've been watching this guy who does dogfights in this video game. I don't know what game it is, but it's so realistic that they're using it. It's like a mil sim, so it doesn't seem to me that like I don't know, an AI, I guess, or even a person controlling it with that much lag could dogfight another person. It seems like the automated stuff is really good for like, yep, there it is. Click on that. Click. Got it. But if you actually needed to like fly in somewhere and like do hard things that required like reaction time, it just seems like a person is the best for that.
Solid point. And I maybe people are a little harder to jam. Can you just put a counter UAV up and ruin all my drones?
Yeah. I don't know.
Did you guys see the big thread on volunteers for Ukraine that went viral? So basically,
is this Reddit?
Yeah, it's a Reddit, and I saw it like going big on Twitter, so I started looking at it like from a couple days ago. So the Foreign Legion, or whatever it's called, missile strikes hit their training base and killed quite a few of them.
30.
And like 30, 35, something like that is what they're saying. Of course, you listen to Russia, it's way more than that. But the guy who went over there posted this clip. And he's saying stuff like, we showed up over there. And like, you can go read this thread. It's on Volunteers for Ukraine. It's called Foreign Legion Missile Strikes. And the OP's posting all about how he went over there and everything. And he's saying stuff like they got bombed and he immediately left Ukraine and said that everybody else wanted to leave Ukraine, but that you can't just fucking leave. Apparently, like the Ukrainians are like, you can't just go. Like,
of course you can.
And if you try and leave and you have any military gear on or you're a man, they're gonna be like, fuck you, get back. And he's like, and nobody speaks Ukrainian. And so we're there. And it becomes, someone was talking about like, like this guy commented something so fucking funny, like Call of Duty, someone was like, you went to war against Russia and you were surprised they had air power. Like, what did you think was going to happen? What did they think you were going to be doing? You know, you guys are joining more of a National Guard style thing where you're going to, you know, they need people to hold down these outposts. What do you do? What do you think you were going to be doing? And this guy's comment was like, we thought we were going to be, you know, strategizing advances and I wanted to be taking back cities. And it's like, you're already running away. Do you think Kiev is going to be a calmer situation than 10 miles from the Polish border? And it's like, it's this guy like talking about it and some like, you know, oh, you know, I was an Afghanistan veteran. And it's like, yeah, you've never fought someone with an Air Force ever. Now you're on the side where they're giving you an AK and 10 bullets. Like, and you're facing the Russian army. Like, do not go over there and do this. And so many of these people, like, who are clearly in it for the memes, laughing at this guy and the people. I mean, it's sad that people died, obviously, but like, take it as a warning. Don't fucking go over to a war zone and fight.
Don't listen to military. Taylor people. Don't be a pussy. Don't be a pussy like Taylor people. Live your life. All right. Think of that. Go watch that Braveheart speech right now and listen. Listen to what Mel says. Listen to what the Road Warrior says. Okay, because it's important stuff. When you're dying in your bed, an old man, and you think, God damn it,
I wish I died for that country I've never been to.
I wish I had gone to the Ukraine and fought. It's not
made a difference.
I wish I'd gone to Ukraine and made a difference, like everybody else did.
And apparently there is
they found those American biolabs and exposed them to the world, and I could have been part of that. I could have been part of the team that found the biolabs.
Dude, apparently there were people at this like training camp and shit that were just like taking selfies of where they were and like posting it online. And it's like, you can't do that. You can't be, we found Osama because some guy took his phone out and started using it once. Like, you can't be in a war zone and start fucking around on Twitter for your fucking upvotes.
Well, that's the reason I'm there, Taylor.
Yeah, I'm there for
I'm there for the karma.
To be fair, though, the Russians don't have Twitter, so you're safe.
Yeah,
that's how that works.
Touche.
Yeah.
No, I really do think that people should go and get in there. But what's funny is, like, I think we need to. I want an hour-long show that we do called Personal Responsibility, where we talk about when you sign a piece of paper as an 18-year-old, we need to decide if 18's old enough or if 18's too young for certain things. All right. So, like, is it old enough to join the military? Yes. Okay. So are you sure about that? Yeah. What about student loans? Well, no, you're not old enough for student loans. Okay. Old enough for military? Yeah. Not old enough for student loans? No. What about alcohol? Hell no. Wait. I can borrow enough money to buy a liquor store, but I can't drink a beer. Yep. Okay.
What about weed? Are we yes or no on 18-year-olds with weed? How old do you need to be 21. To smoke weed?
I think tobacco.
I'm not asking
alcohol,
what it is. I'm asking what it should be.
21 for everything.
I think it should probably be 21, same as alcohol.
Yeah, because like if I'm a parent though, like I think as a parent too, like probably 18. I don't know, probably 18 or 19. I just wouldn't want you like getting stoned all day at school or something like that. Like it wouldn't be a big deal if like once every other weekend my 16-year-old kid got high, but like if your kid is like making that their personality,
yeah,
and like like every shirt they've got has a pot leaf. I don't own a single piece of clothing that has a fucking marijuana leaf.
I have a lot.
The weed's on the inside.
You have to be 21 or have a high school diploma. How's that for a law?
Oh, I like that. I like GED accounts. The GED counts though.
Okay. Yeah. GED, high school diploma, or 21 years old. Or
how about you can overhead press 135?
Yes.
I just made it at 49.
There's going to be some fucking yoked 14-years-olds.
There's going to be that one retard over there who's just, I made it.
Hey, Dewey, can you buy us weed again? I want to keep buying you weed. You're the only one strong enough. You're putting up 2 plates. Stop training for the overhead press. Enough. You're there at 135. he gets injured and he can't buy you weed.
It'd be like skinny high school kids with massive delts.
Just giant delts. So I mean, like there is something to say for that, like because obviously everyone knew people in like middle school, high school who like started smoking weed every day at like 12, 13 through all their developmental years. Like that is bad for you. Like those kids were retarded. Like they were, maybe it's a chicken and the egg situation there, but like it's just not fucking good to be doing it every day as your brain is growing.
The thing Kyle said about making it your personality, back in my day, which was ages ago, there were people who were like Grateful Dead. Like Grateful Dead and pot was their personality. Mm-hmm. So they just dressed in the tie-dyes all the time and they had the unkempt hair and that was their thing.
Like 75% of women that you meet on the internet or on like dating sites or wherever that you meet, their personality is The Office.
Yeah, that is
which
a
works
huge
out
part of online dating.
Which
I like The Office. I'm
the
quirky.
TV show.
Yeah. You need to have your Office trivia down if you're going to get laid in the 21st century, Woody.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
chicks love The Office.
They love it. They love it, and it's their.
They all want their own Jim Halpert.
Yep.
All right,
I'm a Jim.
Oh, did you guys
not at all? Not at all. Jim's such a pussy.
He is a pussy. Oh. I never liked it. Dwight was the alpha male. He did what he wanted when he wanted, and he didn't care because he was autistic. Jim is the one who's sitting over there too enfeebled to do too much other than put people's shit in Jell-O. When Michael pulled a prank, what did he do? He'd light fires and almost end lives.
You guys are underestimating Ryan. He's where it's at. I think he made millions. He took no responsibility for his own action, and he got laid.
Well, that's only the beginning part. Then he loses all of it, and he has to come back to the office, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But you're talking about Ryan 1.0. Ryan 2.0 is not responsible for Ryan 1.0.
I really don't remember.
Hurt a lot of people.
I don't remember hardly any of The Office after Michael leaves because I think I've watched that section of it once ever, and the whole time I just didn't like it.
I'm pretty good at Office trivia. It's one of the things I know best, like the minutia of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet against this at all.
I've done like the trivia things. I do okay. There's some things. It's just like I can't remember what Jim's brothers' names are. Every time that comes up at like a trivia thing, I'm like, fuck, I can't remember that shit.
I didn't know he had brothers.
He's got two brothers. Yeah, you see them in at least 2 episodes.
Season 2, episode 7. Like a Star Trek person. Oh, did you guys watch the new Batman?
No, I haven't watched it yet. I've been wanting. Yeah, it's in theaters, and that'll be required. I'm probably going to watch it maybe this weekend. I'm planning on going and doing some things. So Taylor watched it. He wasn't too hot on it. It's the Robert Pattinson Batman, so it's completely new.
I heard he refused to do steroids for the role, which thumbs down.
It looks like he refused to work out at all.
I like my superheroes to be on the juice.
I like my superheroes on the juice too. Diced. That is going to be my biggest complaint of this movie. And I remember when he didn't just refuse the juice; he refused the workout program.
Really?
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
He was like my
guy from Twilight.
Yeah. Uh-huh. See, don't go back to Twilight though, because that's like being like, oh yeah, Tom Hanks, is he the guy from Splash?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio. He's the guy from Growing Pains.
Yeah.
He's the guy from What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Although he was good in that, so that's
Robert Pattinson's actually like really talented actor. He's up there in that.
Watch the Lighthouse movie with him with Willem Dafoe. That's I think it's Willem Dafoe.
He's A tier to me. He's A tier. You know, like he's certainly not S tier, but he is an A tier actor for me. As far as like skills and like he's done a lot after the Twilight thing. He did not want to get painted with that like brush, so he went and did a lot of like artsy indie things that required him to act, and they're good.
Well, I mean,
he's good.
Robert Pattinson has a wide range. He's a very good actor. Be prepared to see none of that range.
Let me guess. There's a lot of. Is there a lot of scowling?
There's a huge amount of brooding.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah,
and it is just darker and darker and dark. I'm not talking about like, oh my goodness, that guy's getting tortured. It's so dark. I mean, literally, the movie is so dark at times. I'm in the theater. It's a massive screen, and I'm like, oh, what's happening? Like it's so dark, and there's just shadows.
Like
I was not that impressed by it, and my wife didn't like it that much either. And she was like, I really feel like the like Dark Knight Rises. That was the Heath Ledger one. We were like, let's watch that. see how it stacks up, because maybe we're just like rose-colored glasses, the old series. And so we did, and even throughout it, we're both like, oh, this is so much better. Like, it's just,
that's fair.
It feels like there's a lot more at stake in the old one. And this new one, and tell me if you feel the same way when you guys watch it, I never ever felt like the bad guys, the Riddler and the Penguin, were ever a true threat to our protagonists. Like, it didn't feel like there was much at stake.
Oh yeah, that's how I feel watching The Mandalorian in general, but especially this Jango or Boba Fett thing. That Boba Fett thing is so bad, dude. The more I think about it, the more that I think that it's like bad. It's awful. You have to watch a couple episodes of it to like be caught up on Mandalorian though, because like they did 6 or 7 episodes for the Book of Boba Fett, right? The long-awaited thing. You got to keep in mind, Taylor, this guy is so beloved by the fan base. He was a very small role in the original trilogy, but he's a badass. He did a few key things that like you're like, oh, he talks to Darth Vader like that, and Darth Vader lets him like that. That says something about him more than a bunch of exposition might. More than someone sitting there. When he was 7, he killed a Snarlack with his like you don't need a story, because like you just see how like respected characters treated him. Man, he's old and fat, and like the more I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, they did 7 episodes for this, and at least 3 of them have the Mandalorian, and there's one episode where it's just like, fuck the Book of Boba Fett, who wants some more Mando? And you get a whole Mandalorian episode like with him like doing cool shit, like you really need to watch it, because he's got that dark saber and he's like going on a secret mission, room full of bad guys, and he's cutting them all down. Like he gets challenged for the right to hold the dark saber by another guy, like another Mandalorian. Like it's cool. It's a good episode. The fact that they had to stick that in, that it is pathetic. It's so pathetic. It's so awful. That guy is fat. Nothing he does makes sense. I don't even understand his job. He said they call him a daimyo, which I think is Japanese for like like a mix of a warlord and like a mob boss. I think that's what a daimyo is. That's my interpretation. But he doesn't want to commit crimes. Like okay, he's a crime lord who doesn't do crime. And so it's like, well, why are people paying him? They're paying him protection money. The first time someone needed him to protect them, he said, nah, I like the people that are beating you up better. You guys come work for me. And you can take half your money. Charge less for your water from now on. He's charging the market price for the water. This is you're muted. It's just awful. It's such a shit.
It seems like he's just a criminal then, right?
He's not anything anymore. In the original trilogy, he's like a ruthless, cold-hearted bounty hunter who's traveling around fucking taking them dead or alive for the highest bidder. And now he's just like chilling. Like he doesn't, I don't know what for some reason he cares about the people on Tatooine. He's like, that's his community now. Like he just, it doesn't make any sense.
But what does he do? You can't just do a show about somebody chilling.
He sits in the chair, and when people come and talk to him and have an issue, he goes and like grumpily investigates it like a grandpa would. And he's got like literally does. He's always got the helmet off, and he's just like grouchy. And like there's a part where he takes this huge bucket of protection money from this like beautiful woman who owns like a bar, strip club, casino type thing. It's literally a helmet full of gold. That night, an assassin comes to kill Boba Fett, and he spares the assassin and frees him the next day. The assassin goes to the bar that pays Boba protection money, rips a man's arm off, and walks past Boba. And Boba's just like, have a nice day, as if he's not paid to protect this bar as the daimyo. Then later on, they blow that bar up, killing everyone in it, including the beautiful woman who you kind of like started to like. And he goes, we're going to have to do something about this. He didn't care. Like, and like,
sounds terrible.
And if you're any of the townsfolk who would be paying this guy protection money, you'd be like, Jesus, like she paid him 2 buckets of gold, and he didn't even care when they like blew everything. Like he was letting He was letting Wookiees rip off lizard man arms.
It doesn't seem like he cares. Seems like he's just like a bad at his job grifter at this late stage in his life.
They get in a low speed chase and through the market, and they destroy on a planet where water is so expensive that people can't afford to buy it. They destroy so much fruit that there must have been like children literally had to have died because the amount of fruit they destroyed. And then he just like stomps away all badass. Like, yeah, I destroyed all the fruit. And I wish the camera had just paused on the fruit and waited till the crying children came for it. And then a man with a lash came for the children. Like, cause that's the reality of this planet, not a bunch of fucking cyberpunk.
What a horrible planet. They have to eat fruit to get any water.
Well, I'm just saying like I'm putting 1 and 2 together here. Like if water is so
can you imagine the diarrhea on that planet? Do you know how many apples I'd have to eat to not be thirsty?
Well, you juice them. You know, you juice them.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But I mean, it's still apples. It's still gonna
I like a mixture of juices. I like a pineapple fruit cocktail type situation.
Why aren't there more kiwi based juices?
That's a good question. Kiwi is very underrated.
I think they're expensive.
Yeah, you know what? You see kiwi in juices sometimes, but it's always carried by strawberry. Strawberry kiwi is the way you see it.
They want to throw carrot in there as a filler. They love throwing carrot in there. They're like, oh, it's so.
Oh, cranberries must be less than free because it's cran everything.
Oh, it's really cool when they're like farming those cranberries up and they've got like that pond of them that they're floating on.
Yeah, it must be cheap to get a lot of cranberries because you can't find a thing that'll mix this cran apple, cran grape, cranberry, cran who knows what.
Yeah, I drink a lot of
strawberries. Top notch.
Cranberry juice is solid. I think cranberry juice is good for you. Like as far as juices go, right? Like they're all just sugar, but
it's part of my my thing. It's the iodine, I think. I think there's iodine in it.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's hard to get iodine in your diet. You know, there's iodized salt, but when you start controlling salt because of any number of things, then suddenly you're kind of cut off from it. And the best source I know of it, I think, was the cranberry juice. So I drink like 4 ounces a day, every day.
Girls sometimes take it for UTIs, urinary tract infections.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? That's like a super girl thing.
I didn't know you took cranberry juice fixed UTIs.
It does. Well, I mean, if it's bad enough, but yeah, it's definitely a part of the solution.
You've seen The Departed, right?
Yeah.
I love that scene. He comes in, he's like, let me get cranberry juice. Cranberry juice. My girlfriend drinks that when she's got a period. You got your period?
That's not what they use it for.
fucking smashes him in the head with a fucking glasses him in the head and starts beating the dog shit.
Which one? The guy that came up with the period line or the one that said it?
The one who said it. Like
who does the smashing?
Leonardo DiCaprio starts smashing the other guy, and then like the
mouthing off.
Yeah, and then the mobster in the bar comes up. He's like, "There's guys you can hit, and there's guys you can't hit. That's almost a guy you can't hit. But I'm gonna make a rule in here, and I'm gonna say you can't hit him anymore."
That's a good.
That's a great movie.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah. It is a good movie.
It was Jack Nicholson's last really good film, I think. Right?
I think so too. Yeah, he pretty much retired after that. He's got those whores. He takes that handful of cocaine and like
11-minute racist diatribe from Jack Nicholson, where he's just talking about how he doesn't like anyone. Yeah.
You got N-words, and you got mix, and you got the Jews and the kikes, and you got the chinks over there. And he's just like, what he's really doing is like breaking down what like street life is like in fucking Boston or wherever the fuck they are. Of course, it's Boston. If anybody's never seen it, don't like research this movie because it's got kind of a you don't want to know everything that happens. But it's Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, and Jack Nicholson. And I can't remember who that woman is, but she's fucking hot. And I think she gets her titties out. You need to watch that movie. It's a good movie. One of my favorites.
It's a good movie. Yeah, and
I used to think it when I saw it. I was more impressed with it, and maybe I just need to see it again. I just think once I've seen it, I don't think it's going to be good on a rewatch because there's a couple of things that come out of nowhere, and when those things happen, like in that moment, you're like, "Wow, I've experienced something cool here." Like I didn't know I was going to get all this. I thought I was just watching a kind of a gangster movie here. Like
it's very good.
the ending, like that end, like it's just like, oh, thank you.
I want to rewatch it now. Yeah.
I don't want to say anything and ruin it for anyone.
Yeah,
right. I've been thinking a lot and saying not much because,
yeah.
which is not a good podcast attribute. When we're talking about a movie you haven't seen, you'll appreciate it.
I think anybody with like a an IQ above 100 is like, ooh, they don't want to give this away. I want to check it out. So if you haven't seen The Departed, watch The Departed. But
yeah, this is a good opportunity not to say anything. Would he take it?
Yeah,
that's something I tell my kids. Like, you know what? The universe gave you an opportunity to be quiet. You should have taken it. That was the move. Every so often, it does.
Sometimes that is the move. You say something retarded, and someone around you like knows way more about it, and you're like, oh, well, never mind then. Like, oh, it seems like you actually know a lot about this topic. I'll shut my dumb mouth.
Well,
wrap here.
I am starving. I'm so hungry.
All right.
Dying.
So PKN $3.95.